Joining me in the studio is World Affairs commentator Marco Vicenzino. Yeah, apart from the attack by the masked people, the rest, you couldn't make this stuff up, could you? Do you think that Varoufakis is actually in charge?
No. His single greatest achievement in recent months was to have unified all the ministers of the Eurozone countries, which is not easy to do. He managed to do it, but not for the right reasons. He did it for the negative reasons. They basically, after 3 months of paralysis, stalemate, and deadlock, in recent days, at the meeting of the finance ministers of Europe and Riga and Latvia, they basically closed the door. They had had enough of him, and they sent a signal to the Greek government and to Tsipras to replace him, and not replace him because he still remains as finance minister, but to sideline and marginalize him and to bring some more serious people to the table which they can do business with, constructive people. Ultimately, what's going to make the difference is the substance of a deal. And that's what's going to make the major difference.
Do you think the ECB's slight, how can I put it, easing towards money, is that going to help? It can only be a temporary thing.
It's a small incentive to them to come to the table with serious reforms. Right. It's basically saying, we're willing to help you if you're willing to help yourselves. Come to the table with serious reforms.
On that, let me quote you this. This is from Varoufakis. The negotiations are the most crucial stage, the final stage. We're making great efforts to cover the distance to reach an agreement. As I said in Brussels, we have covered 70% of the distance, and we ask with them to walk the remaining 30% together. Do you think they've actually covered 70% of the distance?
No, it's his personal rhetoric to try to justify his position. Basically, in 3 months, there's been no progress. As a result, the government was forced to present another team. Once again, the other team is not going to do any better. It's what makes a difference. The game changer is what do they put on the table in terms of reforms. Europe is waiting there. All the other member states of the Eurozone countries are sitting there and waiting for some serious negotiations. And at the end of the day, Greece remains, it urgently and desperately needs financing. And if it wants its part of the releasing of the 7.2 billion euro tranche of money that's due to it, it has to show something at the table. Varoufakis, for the most part, I would say it was mostly, ultimately, Varoufakis and the rest of the governments, it's not that you're dealing with seasoned political professionals. Ultimately, you're dealing with individuals who are political neophytes who are learning on the job.
When you talk to people in Athens, it's as if this isn't happening. And yet you can't help feeling that, given the stance that Syriza took, the populace must be getting fed up. They must be surely thinking, what on earth are our politicians doing?
Basically, you have a certain base in Greek society that support him because he's telling them what they want to hear.
Yes.
But the reality of the situation is what he's telling them what they want to hear is disconnected from reality. It's just not going to happen. So they're trying to play a game of emitting conflicting signals whereby domestically they strike a defiant note, which makes their base and animates their base and puts them in a good political situation. But the reality is that unless they cut a deal with their creditors, not much is going to happen in Greece. And in Europe, they're sending conflicting messages whereby on the one hand they say, we're going to, conciliatory notes, such as saying that we're going to marginalize Varoufakis, and on the other hand, he threatens a referendum.
Marco, as usual, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.